Greetings, history buffs, and welcome to episode 5 of History Lessons with a History Maker. I am your host, the real wrestler, Gavin McGavin, and today we have Scotty Ryan versus Gavin McGavin 2. Again, it is for the Coastal Championship, but this time it is a no disqualification match. Here we have the big rig Scotty Ryan during his entrance trying to rip open that singlet. I think by this stage he'd been trying to rip it open just about his whole career. He'd spent years trying to rip that shirt. But he obviously hasn't been saying quite enough prayers and eating enough vitamins. On social media this week, I released a teaser for this week's episode and alluded to the fact that I was none too happy that this match was not taking place as the main event. There was a previously scheduled main event between Logan Gray and Damon Slater, but an injury to Logan Gray meant that that match had to be postponed. I thought we were a shoo-in for the main event, but instead Marcus Pitt and Chris Weiss were given that spot. As you can imagine, I had quite a bit to say about that backstage, and it looks like I've got a bit to say here as well.
I mean, yes, it does. You and I, we're both men of honour. We're both men of our word. And I promise that I will not break one single rule as long as you promise to do the same. Because after all, this belt is supposed to be about real wrestling. And I am the greatest.
And it looks like we're underway with this match. As I was trying to say to Scotty Ryan, I was none too keen on the fact that this was, hit with my own petition. As I was saying, I was none too keen with the fact that this was a no disqualification match. As I'd said all along, and as I've been saying in every one of these episodes, for me, the Coastal Championship was about real wrestling, and no DQ matches were not real wrestling, which is why I had my hashtag no DQ petition that I had signed by over 400 people, but rather than read it, Scotty decided to bounce it off my head. As you can see, Scotty Ryan pretty fired up here, and we both were. I wasn't the only one disappointed by the fact that we were not put into that main event spot. Not only had we had a fantastic match, the event beforehand at Gold Rush, but we were a title match, and the Coastal title meant something, and we thought that it meant enough to be in the main event. The bookers decided that we were not proven main eventers, whereas Marcus Pitt and Chris Weiss were, so they got the spot. And Scotty Ryan quite literally ringing my bell there. So, I know Scotty felt the same way I did, so the decision was made, I think both of us, without even speaking to each other, that we were going to prove the bookers wrong. We were going to go out there and steal the show. In hindsight, being a bit older and wiser now, I can understand the decision of the bookers, but at the time, you're the champion, you're having great matches, an opportunity presents itself, and you scream and you yell for it, and you still don't get it, and it can be quite disappointing. So that's why I thought, you know what, the best way to claim my spot is to take it. And the best way to do that is have match of the night again. Be undeniable. Make sure that everyone who left Collision Course that night was talking about this match. See, I've a handful of hair there on Scotty Ryan. Not against the rules. This is a no DQ match after all. I didn't want it that way, but I was certainly going to think my way around any potential problems that this sort of match was going to deliver for me. Back and forth action there. Scotty Ryan catching the legs. Obviously, I was a bit wiser about his sharpshooter now, getting straight out of that one. I do not want to be in that position again. It had me in all sorts at Gold Rush. Oh, I forgot about the calf kick though, straight to the mush. As always, Scotty Ryan versus Gavin. McGavin cuts quite a quick pace at the start, and that was a hallmark for both of us. We both had that style of coming out of the gates pretty quick, some slick transitions, really trying to get our opponent wrong-footed by moving in ways that are unexpected, and trying to be as crisp and clean as we can to force our opponents to make a mistake. And I think that that's what we wanted to bring to the Coastal Championship. We wanted to set that as the expectation for anyone who wanted to step in that division. I certainly did as champion. If anyone was going to out-wrestle me for the title, that's exactly what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to out-wrestle me. Oh, every single time he chops me, I think my heart stops, and he doesn't start it until he chops it again. Whoop, swat the kick away. Boom, kick to the rope. What are you going to do about that one, ref? Remember, it's a no DQ. As I said, I didn't want it to be a no DQ match, but you've got to remember that the history maker, the record breaker, the title taker, Gavin McGavin, yours truly, bang, right on the hardest part of the ring, started his championship career as the first ever EPW Hardcore Champion, the only ever two-time EPW Hardcore Champion. I am no stranger to these kinds of matches where you may use weapons and you may very well use the ring as the weapon, which was more of my sort of style. This is a no DQ match, but you're not going to see the classic tropes. You're not going to see people lifting up the apron and, oh my god, there's a table under there. Oh, there's a kendo stick under there. No, this match does devolve into a bit of brutality with a few foreign objects, but it's just things that happen to be lying around. We weren't going to walk out there with a trash can full of weapons. I certainly wasn't going to come out dressed in jeans with my wrists taped. No, I'm a real wrestler. And if you put me in a no DQ match, fine. I'm going to wrestle you like a real wrestler, but I'm going to use those rules to my advantage as much as I can. It's no secret that I like to interact with our fans, and there's an interaction here that I'm about to have with, that's actually Tez's dad at ringside. I noticed he had his walking stick with him, so I thought, you know what, I might pinch that. I might want to wrap that around Scotty's head at some stage, but unfortunately Scotty had other ideas and saved Tez's dad from losing his precious walking stick there. Tez has of course been a huge part of the WA wrestling scene for a long time, and his parents have been long-time supporters as well, coming along and sitting in the front row as you've seen since, well, as long as I can remember. Oh, and bang! What did I say about things just lying around? How many people have you seen that are clever enough to use the drinks tray from the announce table? Just wrap that around Scotty's head there, and I'm firmly back in control now, but I want to get that tray straight out of the ring because I don't need that. I'm just going to beat him with superior wrestling skill. Another 2 handfuls of hair there. Again, the crowd none too happy about it, but hey, they should have signed my petition. They should have made it so it was a normal match, not a no DQ. Look, here I am in the corner, reminding the ref, that's it, no DQ. The sort of match that you guys wanted to see me in. You thought Scotty would have the advantage. But you're forgetting. I was the guy that had been breaking all the rules. Now that you've made it so there are no rules, there's nothing to stop me. Confidence obviously quite high here. Calling my shot, letting the crowd know that a vertical suplex is coming. And I was right. Unfortunately, I was on the receiving end of that one. Scotty Ryan is a guy that is super resilient. Always seemed to have a counter for everything. Very technically sound. I've got a few counters that he hasn't seen before though, and here it comes, the patented McGavin Plex. Boom! Many have tried to copy it, but that is the original and the best right there. So why is the match that we're watching an historic match in the history of the EPW Coastal Championship? Because it is the first ever stipulation match for that title. And what a stipulation match does is it raises the stakes. All of a sudden, this is a title that people are willing to put themselves through, well, things like this, things like a steel chair. People are willing to put their bodies on the line in no DQ matches for this title, which means that it means something to them. And the more it means to us, the more it's going to mean to the crowd. And this title meant the absolute world to me as I drop an elbow right in the middle of Scotty's back there. It meant everything to me because it was a chance to elevate myself, to elevate a division, to elevate the entire mid-card, and to elevate the company all at the same time. Get getting a little bit crafty with the chair here, looking to set Scotty Ryan up for something nice and big, but uses as athleticism to get out the way. And here we go, shades of his time in tag team division. Leo Pratt used to be the one on all fours to help him with that drop kick when they were the drop kicks, but bang! Scotty Ryan teaming up with the chair to take me out there. Has he got me for 3, 1, 2, and no, just the 2. You can tell by the effort that he's putting in and by how hard he's fighting that the title meant just as much to Scotty Ryan as it did to me. And some would argue that he might have even been hungrier than I was because he hadn't tasted championship gold at all before. Whereas this, I had already won the hardcore title twice, the tag team title twice as I counter a suplex and go for a German suplex of my own. And now I was holding the Coastal Championship for the first time ever, the only Coastal Champion in history at this point in time. And this is the sort of thing I'm going to do to hold on to it. Oh, sidewalk slam right onto the chair. Turnabout is fair play, Scotty Ryan. 1, 2, both legs hooked and kick out. Not quite done just yet. As I said at the top of this episode, and as I said all throughout this week, and at the time of the match, I wanted the main event spot. I felt like I was ready. And I felt like I was ready because of, well, the match that we saw in episode 2 of History Lessons with History Maker, where I had my first ever main event against Jack Bonza. And the next night I had a main event against Concrete Davidson. And then 7 days later I had a main event match against Caveman Ugg. I'd had 3 main event singles matches, and I was just itching to main event a singles match in EPW. I'd done it over East, but I hadn't done it in my home promotion where the title originated from. So I was doing everything I could in this match just to show the main event quality wrestler I could be, and to show that the future was going to include Gavin McGavin in its main event scene. And if Scotty Ryan managed to prove that he could hang in there as well, then I guess he was going to come up to that main event scene with me. Taking advantage of the unique rules of this match here, ordinarily this would get me a caution or a disqualification from the referee, but hey, anything goes. Fans, again, this was your call. You wanted the no DQ. You thought it would put me on the back foot, but I am absolutely thriving in this environment right now, apart from the fact that I couldn't get that bloody turnbuckle undone. The refs tie them up so tight, probably to stop people like me from doing that. And obviously I've got on my mind shooting Scotty in for one more hard buckle whip, but Scotty's not having any of it. He's mustering everything he's got. Here's the power of Ryan. Tries to shoot me in. I reverse. And, oh, Scotty comes out with a very stiff clothesline. Elbow right on the point of the jaw there. Lining me up. Swat the kick away. And beautiful German. When you're wrestling the big rig Scotty Ryan, you really don't want him getting momentum on his side. When he starts to move like that, it can be hard to stop him, but a nice big German will put him right in his place as I charge in and, oh, straight into that exposed metal turnbuckle. I guess that's my own fault. And what's this? Oh, Scotty Ryan busts out a McGavin plex of his own, and, oh, despite a, to be fair, really beautiful bridge, I've managed to kick out there, but he's used my own move against me. What gall from the big rig Scotty Ryan. That just goes to show how well we know each other when he's able to dip into my bag of tricks and use them against me. Now, those of you that watched the last episode, oh, this may look a bit familiar. Scotty Ryan had great success at Gold Rush utilising the superplex. Another move that he hadn't really used much before, but it worked a treat against me at Gold Rush, so obviously he's going to go for it again here. But, you know, I felt that superplex and I did not want to be feeling it again, so I was ready for it. Here he comes, leaps to the top. I'd seen that before, and bang! 2 thumbs right to the eyes. Perfectly legal in this sort of match. Hey, if you want to make it no DQ, I'm happy to follow those rules. And happy to give Scotty Ryan a receipt from Gold Rush. He wants to give me a superplex. I'm going to give him a big back superplex, flipping him inside out. Now, like I told you about the superplex last week, a back superplex takes it out of both of you as I clutch the back of my head there. But I guarantee Scotty Ryan got just the worst of that. And here I go for the cover to put him away and maintain my grip on the Coastal Championship. Oh, quick reversal into a crucifix. 1, 2, and barely escape and live to fight another day there. Like I said, Scotty Ryan, very technically sound, always seems to have a counter for anything I can throw at him. That's what made him so frustrating to wrestle, but it's probably what made him so entertaining to wrestle as far as the fans were watching too. Just staying quiet a bit there, just so you could hear those big thuds as Scotty Ryan and I slammed our forearms into each other's faces. Now, we talk about no DQ matches, and of course anything can happen and you can use weapons and whatnot, but it doesn't get much more hardcore than jamming the point of your elbow right at the side of someone's neck or the point of their jaw, as Scotty Ryan slips me into the corner and slaps me right across the ear and jaw. That one left my ear ringing for a little bit there. Gavin McGavin up top now, not something you see very often these days, as I set to fly, and that's why. High risk, high reward. No reward there as I end up in the sharpshooter. Scotty Ryan got me in the sharpshooter at Gold Rush, and I had nowhere to go. I had to slap the referee and get myself disqualified just to retain the title. I can't do that this time. There is no DQ, and as you can see, there's no rope break. It doesn't count. I'm in the middle of the ring and I've got nothing. I've got two choices. I can either tap out and lose the title, or I can think outside the box, or more specifically, think outside the ring. Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can find? It looks like there is. Oh, that cracking noise. Tez's dad's cane straight on the back of the skull of Scotty Ryan. If it wasn't for that, there is every chance we'd have a new EPW Coastal Champion right there. I tell you what, that cane shot was absolutely sickening, and that's a real walking cane. You could hear it bounce off his skull. It even busted him open. He ended up with a couple of stitches, I think, and referee there, taking out the gloves to check on him and also just checking for signs of concussion. Everything we know about concussion these days in wrestling, we take the safety of our wrestlers very, very seriously indeed, and that's why our referees are trained in first aid and to look for those sorts of things, because the last thing we want is someone leaving with a big... Oh! That might be a concussion for the referee himself right there. Oh, the cane's actually snapped in half. His head might be a bit harder than Scotty Ryan's. And, oh, here comes that resilient Scotty Ryan again, and bang, hits the big backstabber. You could probably count to 100, and I don't think yours truly is going to get up from that one. Unfortunately for Scotty, the refs had a bit of a mishap. The crowd gets to about 12 before Scotty realises, and I live to fight another day. Like I said at the top of this episode, Scotty Ryan and I were determined to do anything and everything to put on the best possible match, to steal the show. We had a look at the card and we were on right before intermission, and we went, you know what, we're going to take as much time as we want, because if the show's running late, they can just take it off intermission. He's not going to mind at all. And here we go, turnabout fair play. You hit me with the McGavin Plex, I'm going to hit you with your backstabber, Scotty. And pretty well too, I might add. People often ask me which of the 3 matches in the trilogy with Scotty Ryan is my favourite, and it's hard to answer because all 3 matches are, well, different stipulations to begin with, and I'm very fond of them for very different reasons. They all hold special moments and special significance. But yeah, it's something I can't answer. It's like trying to decide which one of your children is your favourite. There's just something in each match that I just always go back to. And for me, this is one of those moments. Here I've decided, you know what? I've completely forgotten about the fact this is a no DQ match, and I'm hoping that the referee has too by being cracked across the skull, but unfortunately it is a no DQ match. I tried to take a page out of the book of Eddie Guerrero and get Scotty Ryan disqualified, but I forgot the fact that, it's a no DQ, and now I'm staring at a pissed off Scotty Ryan holding on to a title belt that is also a weapon. So I'm going to act first, and bang! He has absolutely leveled me with that and covered me. Here we go. 1, 2, and somehow I found the strength to kick out as the Cyril Jackson Rec Center absolutely exploded. This is what I wanted to do. This is the match I wanted to have. This is what I wanted to stick up the booker's ass and say, hey, this should have been the main event. This far into the match, after what we've endured, we are both physically and emotionally spent as Scotty Ryan clutches at the Coastal Championship. The reason we are doing this to each other, the reason we're doing this to ourselves, the reason I am doing this YouTube series in the entire first place is because of that Coastal Championship, and it's within my reach. But Scotty Ryan has a few words that he would like to say to me. And I took him to heart for about 2 seconds. Because yes, I wanted the main event. Yes, I wanted to steal the show. Yes, I wanted to establish myself as a top player in EPW. But more than that, more than anything, I wanted to win and stay the EPW Coastal Champion, and I have just achieved that. Even more satisfying than the victory was walking back in the gorilla position and seeing one of the bookers standing there, giving a standing ovation, clapping his hands and saying, sorry, we screwed up. That should have been the main event. And I got to look him right in the eye, hold on to my championship nice and tight and say, yeah, no shit, and then walk away. This match proved that the Coastal title can be the main event, that Gavin McGavin can be a main eventer, that Scotty Ryan can be a main eventer. And in episode 6, I prove that the EPW title is for everyone when I defend against Allison Cruz at EPW's Evolution 2017. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe and leave a comment. I've been Gavin McGavin, the Real Wrestler. And thus endeth the lesson.